Hello, my name is Reginald Bullock, and I am the author of Father to Son, A Guide to Growing Up in a Difficult World. This next chapter, Life and Death, is one of those types of conversations that it's difficult to have with a child. You know, back to the point that we are all bilateral primate creatures, and no one lives forever, and no animal lives forever. It's still difficult as humans to lose someone, to lose many people. And how do you have that conversation? Particularly if you're having a conversation that you, as a parent, will one day leave this world and your child may still be here. I went through many experiences losing so many people. When I wrote the book in 1994, I had lost my grandfather, who I was very close to, a couple of uncles, and then I lost my brother, who was 18 months younger than I. He hung himself while a student at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, majoring in aeronautics, space design, engineering, in his the beginning of his fourth semester, his second year, in his dorm room. And so I was in Germany, and I was an airman in the Air Force, and it hit me. It still hits me every now and then. I actually finished his book for him and published it, so to honor him. But who gets you through these things, right? Who helps you navigate these? And do you ever get over it? And it can really throw you for a loop. So I just felt it was necessary to put this chapter in the book. So I hope that you find something from this chapter that may be able to help you.
Chapter 18, Life and Death. This world has been built by trillions of hands and minds. The Stonehenge, the pyramids, irrigation systems, bridges, books, maps, machines, languages, music, art, aircraft, computers, hospitals, medicine, technologies, and science are all contributions from people who impacted this world. Imagine if no one was ever interested in discovering math. We would still be at a very primitive state. Yet some people refuse to even learn it. The hard part was discovering it. The easy part is learning it. How are you impacting the world in which you live? How are you impacting the people you come in contact with? What contributions will you be remembered for after you are gone? The answers to these questions can only be answered by you. Only you hold the power. There's an old Native American story that was related to me many moons ago when I was a young camper that I would like to share, which explains the power you hold. One year, a Native American tribal chief wanted to select his successor. He assembled all of his warriors and gave them all sorts of tasks to eliminate the unworthy. After several months had passed, he narrowed the competition down to the two best warriors. Both wanted to be chief. However, they needed to prove their true power to the chief, which would be the final test. He commanded both to venture up to the mountains and bring back an eagle's egg from the nest of an eagle. The two departed and returned 1 week later with their egg. The chief examined both eggs and ordered both warriors to demonstrate their true powers to the entire tribe. The first warrior let out a loud scream, held the egg up in the air, and crushed it with all of his might. The next warrior wrapped the egg in cloth to keep it warm and returned the egg back to the nest from which he took it. After the warriors returned, the chief asked them both to explain why they made the decisions they made. The first warrior spoke boldly that he was the most powerful warrior in the tribe. Since the eagle was regarded as the most superior bird in the air, by destroying the egg, he gained the powers of the eagle. The second warrior said that he too felt that he was the most powerful warrior in the tribe. However, he was also compassionate and merciful. He felt true power was the gift of giving life, not destroying it. By returning the egg to the nest, he was giving life, which would in turn give more life. Hearing this, the chief proclaimed the second warrior as his successor. It is not certain how long your life will last. Your life could end before you finish this book, this paragraph, or even the breath you have just unconsciously taken in. What is certain is that you are alive now, and you should try to live life to the fullest. I have a saying that was passed on to me: live life as if each day was your last. Then after that, live as if you were going to live forever. If you were to die today, you will have lived. As the saying goes, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Death is something that is definite, absolute, and final. You are born and you live and you die. These three things are inseparable and inevitable. And although death has been going on since the beginning of life, we still have problems dealing with it. Perhaps it is the value system we are brought up with. Perhaps it is the denial attitudes we witness. Perhaps it is the media. Whatever the reason, death is all around you, and one day your turn will come. It is a fact of life that cannot be denied or evaded. I'm not going to tell you how to feel about death because you can only feel it when you see or experience it. Although all the holy books explain death and teach that it is a part of life, for some reason most of the so-called religious people forget that part when someone close to them dies. Your mind might tell you the logical thing to do or feel. However, your emotions do not always listen to your mind, and you express yourself based on how you really feel. I've experienced death from close friends to relatives, and it is different every time. The more I experience it, the more I am able to understand it. The more I'm able to understand it, the easier it is to accept it. That may or may not work for you. My brother, whom I spoke of earlier in this book, committed suicide. While an engineering major at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, in his second year, he hung himself in his dorm room. He wrote a very descriptive last will and testament. He also stated why he was taking his life. I was stationed in the Air Force in Germany when I got the news, which devastated me. He was about 15 months younger than I was, and we were very close. I cried, I yelled, I punched things, and I did a lot of thinking. It was very difficult. My first sergeant told me something that has stuck with me that I share with other people who are grieving. He said, "The pain never goes away, it just lessens over a period of time." He was right. I related that truthful statement to my wife when she lost her father and to several other friends, and it seems that that statement has held true. Just as life is one big learning experience, so is death. Every time you experience someone close to you dying, you learn something. You learn something about yourself, and you learn something about life. It forces you to do an introspection. Through introspection, you are able to think at a level that is not always easy to do on a regular basis. It sometimes requires a transient-like state of mind so that you are able to access your subconscious thoughts and use them to answer the questions you seek answers to. In many cases, experiencing a death can put you in that frame of thought. How you come out of it is up to you. Presently, we're going through an era of clashing value systems, which is challenging our government and court systems more than ever. Abortions, the right to life, death with dignity, and capital punishment are just a few of the issues which revolve around death. How quickly we forget that this same government used to burn so-called witches at the stake. This same government used to hang the criminals regularly in public, and many were innocent. This same government who was frowning on a young man getting canned for vandalism used to whip human beings by the thousands daily and rejoice about it. The same government used to burn blacks as a Sunday after church outing and then auction the burned body parts to men, women, and children. So-called good Christians. It is no wonder we do not understand death. It was not too long ago that blacks were victims of the police force on a scale that I call genocide. They shot into crowds of blacks at will, killing as many as they could. They turned their attack dogs loose on them happily. They bombed their houses, burned their churches, ripped the skin right off their bones with high-pressure water hoses, and more. This was all considered normal not too long ago. I bet that there are many people who could tell you all about those days firsthand. Just ask them. Our past, allows us to move into the future with an understanding of that which has worked and that which has not. With this understanding, we are now able to understand death better than we did in our past. In the Stone Age, when a person died, I'm sure there were a lot of unanswered questions. Hopefully here in the technological age, we have been able to answer some of those questions. Life and death comes and goes. We must try to look beyond the trained values to begin to understand the unknown. It is that unknown which holds the key to the many answers to the questions we seek. What is life? Why is there life? Is there life after death? No one person can give you the answers. No one person knows all the answers. Whether you choose to believe or not to believe, whatever you are told is your prerogative. There is one fact that is true, and to this you can believe. You are born, you live, and you die. Make the best of the life you have been blessed with.